A man once came to Gautama Buddha with a question that has haunted humanity for thousands of years. What happens after death? But the Buddha answered in a way nobody expected. He did not speak about an eternal soul flying into another body. He did not describe heaven as a permanent reward. He did not say there was a creator deciding who deserves another life. Instead, he explained reincarnation as something far stranger, more psychological, and more immediate than people imagine. According to him, rebirth is happening every moment, even before physical death arrives. Most people think reincarnation means you leave one body and enter another. The Buddha challenged this idea completely. He taught that what we call a person is not a fixed self at all. The body changes constantly. Thoughts appear and disappear. Emotions rise and fall. Memories fade. Personality shifts over time. If everything changes from moment to moment, where is the permanent I that could travel unchanged into another existence? The Buddha said this belief in a solid self is one of the greatest illusions humans cling to. And this illusion creates endless suffering, yet Buddhism still teaches rebirth. So if there is no permanent soul, what continues? The Buddha used examples to explain this mystery. Imagine one candle lighting another candle. Is the second flame the same flame as the first? Not exactly. But without the first flame, the second would not exist. Or think about a wave moving across the ocean. The shape changes every second, but a pattern continues. In the same way, what continues after death is not a soul but a stream of causes and conditions, habits, desires, fears, attachments, intentions, karma. The momentum continues even though no permanent entity travels from one life to another. This idea confuses many people because humans naturally crave permanence. We want something inside us that survives forever. But the Buddha saw this craving itself as part of the problem. We fear death because we imagine there is a solid self that can be destroyed. But according to Buddhism, there was never a permanent self in the first place. What exists is a constantly changing process. Birth and death are simply transformations within that process. The Buddha taught that karma is what drives rebirth. But karma is also widely misunderstood. Many think karma means cosmic punishment or reward. The Buddha described it differently. Karma literally means action. Every thought, every intention, every emotional reaction plants seeds in the mind. Angry thoughts strengthen anger. Compassion strengthens compassion. Fear strengthens fear. Over time, these mental patterns become powerful forces shaping experience, both now and after death. Imagine someone consumed by hatred for their entire life. Even when they sleep, the mind burns with resentment. According to the Buddha, death does not magically erase this momentum. The mental energy continues. In the same way, someone who cultivates wisdom and compassion creates a completely different momentum. Rebirth follows the direction of the mind's deepest tendencies. One of the most fascinating aspects of Buddhist teaching is that the Buddha often avoided answering speculative questions directly. People wanted exact descriptions of the afterlife, cosmic maps, and metaphysical certainty. Sometimes the Buddha refused to answer. He compared such questions to a man shot with a poisoned arrow who refuses treatment until he learns every detail about the arrow, who made it, and what wood it came from. The Buddha said humanity is suffering right now from greed, hatred, and delusion. Solving those matters is more urgent than satisfying endless philosophical curiosity. Still, many teachings about rebirth survived in Buddhist traditions. The cycle of rebirth is called samsara. Samsara is not merely physical reincarnation. It is the endless cycle of craving and dissatisfaction. According to the Buddha, beings wander through countless forms of existence because they cling to desires and illusions. Even pleasurable lives remain trapped in samsara because everything temporary eventually ends. Wealth disappears. Beauty fades. Relationships change. Bodies age. Even heavenly states eventually collapse. Nothing conditioned lasts forever. This is why enlightenment was so revolutionary. The Buddha was not trying to help people gain better rebirths forever. He wanted liberation from the cycle itself. Nirvana was described as the extinguishing of the fires that keep rebirth going: greed, hatred, and ignorance. When craving ends completely, the cycle stops. This is difficult for the ordinary mind to grasp because humans are addicted to becoming something. We constantly chase identities, achievements, relationships, pleasures, and beliefs. The Buddha saw this endless grasping as the engine of suffering. There is also a profound psychological interpretation of reincarnation hidden within Buddhist teachings. Even within one lifetime, humans constantly reincarnate into new mental worlds. Think about anger. When rage takes over, the world changes completely. Perception narrows. Compassion disappears. A person becomes almost like a different being. The Buddha described realms not merely as places after death but as states of mind experienced right now. Hell realms are intense hatred and despair. Hungry ghost realms are endless craving and addiction. Animal realms are ignorance and instinctive living. Heavenly realms are temporary pleasure and bliss. Humans cycle through these states constantly. In this sense, rebirth is occurring every second. The person who wakes up today is not exactly the same as yesterday. Memories, habits, and karma create continuity, but there is no fixed essence underneath. Modern neuroscience strangely echoes parts of this teaching. Scientists cannot locate a permanent unchanging self inside the brain. Personality depends on processes, memories, conditioning, biology, and environment. The self appears more like an ongoing construction than a stable object. The Buddha's teachings on rebirth were also deeply connected to ethics. If actions shape future experience, then every moment matters. A cruel action is not just morally wrong because society says so. It transforms the mind itself. Every act leaves traces. The mind becomes what it repeatedly does. This is why meditation was central in Buddhism. Meditation was not escapism. It was training the mind to observe its own patterns clearly. By seeing thoughts arise and pass away, practitioners begin to understand impermanence directly. One famous story tells of a woman named Kisa Gautami who lost her child and was overwhelmed with grief. She carried the dead child to the Buddha, begging him to bring the child back to life. The Buddha told her he could help if she found mustard seeds from a household untouched by death. She searched everywhere but found no such home. Every family had experienced loss. Through this painful journey, she realized death touches all beings. This understanding transformed her grief into wisdom. The Buddha constantly emphasized impermanence because ignorance of impermanence fuels attachment. Humans behave as if things can be held forever, even though everything changes. This denial creates fear when change inevitably arrives. Rebirth continues because beings cling desperately to what cannot last. Some Buddhist texts describe detailed cosmologies with many realms of rebirth: heavens, hells, spirit worlds, human worlds, animal worlds. Different Buddhist schools interpret these teachings differently. Some take them literally. Others see them symbolically or psychologically. But across traditions, the central message remains the same: actions and mental states shape future experience. One of the most misunderstood aspects of karma is the idea that people deserve all suffering because of past lives. The Buddha did not teach simplistic victim blaming. Karma is extremely complex, involving countless interconnected causes and conditions. Illness, disasters, and suffering cannot always be traced to a single moral cause. Buddhism emphasizes compassion precisely because suffering is universal and deeply interconnected. There are also remarkable stories in Buddhist traditions about people remembering past lives. Some monks were said to develop abilities to recall previous existences through deep meditation. The Buddha himself reportedly remembered countless past lives on the night of his enlightenment. Whether interpreted literally or metaphorically, these stories point toward a deeper insight. Identity is far more fluid than humans assume. The doctrine of no self, called anatta, is one of the most radical teachings in world philosophy. Most religions reassure people that an eternal soul exists. The Buddha instead invited people to investigate experience carefully. Can any part of the body be controlled permanently? Can thoughts be commanded never to change? Can emotions remain fixed? Everything observed changes. Therefore, clinging to anything as me leads to suffering. This does not mean Buddhism teaches nihilism or meaninglessness. Quite the opposite. Because existence is interconnected and impermanent, compassion becomes even more important. Every action affects the web of life. Hatred spreads hatred. Kindness spreads kindness. The illusion of separateness weakens when one sees how deeply connected all beings are. The Buddha also rejected extreme views about existence after death. He refused both eternalism, the belief in an unchanging eternal self, and annihilationism, the belief that everything simply disappears into nothingness. Instead, he described dependent origination. All phenomena arise dependent on causes and conditions. Nothing exists independently. Rebirth is part of this chain of causation. A simple example helps explain this. Imagine planting a mango seed. Years later, a tree grows and produces fruit. Is the fruit identical to the seed? No. But without the seed, the fruit would never appear. In the same way, future lives are neither completely identical nor completely separate from previous lives. There is continuity without permanence. Many people today approach reincarnation as entertainment or fantasy. They wonder if they were kings, warriors, or famous figures in past lives. The Buddha discouraged obsession with such speculation. He believed the real issue was ending suffering now. Even if someone had thousands of glorious past lives, they would still remain trapped in impermanence until awakening occurred. Meditation reveals why rebirth happens. Sit quietly and observe the mind honestly. Thoughts constantly chase pleasure and resist pain. Cravings appear endlessly. Fear arises. Desire creates movement toward objects. Aversion creates movement away from them. The mind is restless because it always seeks something to become. According to Buddhism, this becoming does not stop at death. The momentum continues until wisdom breaks the cycle. The ultimate goal of Buddhism is not immortality. It is freedom. Freedom from compulsive craving. Freedom from ignorance. Freedom from the illusion that lasting satisfaction can be found in temporary things. Nirvana cannot be fully described because language itself belongs to the world of concepts and dualities. The Buddha often spoke about it negatively, as the end of greed, hatred, and delusion, because ordinary language could not capture it directly. What makes the Buddha's explanation of reincarnation so unique is that it shifts attention away from abstract belief and toward direct experience. Instead of asking people to blindly believe in another life, he asked them to examine the nature of the mind right now. Are thoughts permanent? Is identity stable? What creates suffering? What happens when attachment weakens? Buddhism begins not with dogma but with observation. Even modern people who do not literally believe in reincarnation can find profound meaning in these teachings. Psychological patterns absolutely continue across time. Trauma passes through generations. Habits shape identity. Societies inherit the consequences of collective actions. In a very real sense, humans are constantly reborn through the momentum of causes and conditions. The Buddha's vision of existence was both unsettling and liberating. There is no permanent self to defend endlessly. Yet there is also no isolated existence cut off from everything else. Life is an interconnected flow. Every moment conditions the next. Every action matters. Every thought leaves traces. Perhaps the deepest point of the Buddha's teaching on reincarnation is this: the question is not merely what happens after death. The question is what is happening right now. Are you living unconsciously, driven by craving and fear? Or are you becoming aware of the processes shaping your existence? The cycle of rebirth is not only cosmic. It is immediate. Each moment of anger creates a new world. Each moment of compassion creates another. Every instant plants seeds for future experience. According to the Buddha, liberation begins the moment one sees this clearly.